Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Trading with Emotions. We're going to go over AMC once again. So you can see the title of the video, Catapult. I'm going to be going over something we've talked about before. This is basically a major level of resistance that we've been paying attention to, the macro level of resistance that we have crossed on this chart here. Ever since the June run-up, we've been following this trend line here very careful, and you can see that we're bouncing off of that trend line and not crossing below it, which is very important for a macro trend reversal that we're looking at here. And the reference that I took here was, well, obviously prior to the run, we had the same exact setup here on a micro level. So we still had the resistance cross here right around that end of April going into May. Okay, as you can see here, we bounced a couple of times on the very micro scale. Remember, when we're reaching for higher prices, you're always going to get, okay, a bigger pattern, more extended, so larger in price, in height, then also larger in time. Okay, so that's exactly what we are experiencing right now. As you can see, it's a catapult, it's a slingshot to the upside. It's a very parabolic move up. And that is exactly what we're hoping for here, right? So with this setup here, and the update that we have is a bars pattern from the second test of resistance here, which in this line here would be around the March 2021, and then right here, that would be right back here. Now, these fractals beforehand are going to look a little bit different, okay? And that is just because this cycle right here is actually an inverse version, okay, of this entire arc pattern here. And you can see it's extended, it's bigger. Okay, but you can see that the way it's displayed, and again, institutions will use fractals and patterns to distribute with volume. So you have a certain, you have a cap in how much volume you can use to really come up with these setups here. You have, remember, a time frame, and you have a time window where you can build these patterns, these blocks of patterns using volume, and really just create your own algorithm using that and follow that algorithm until it gives up and it starts tracking something else. And right here we have just that right before we cross down. Right here, breaking down on the pennant was that break here in the cycle for this price, because you have to think about it this way. If you're hedging for a certain position here, you're hedging for the $40 strikes that they opened up way back here in January until they opened up the 145s back here. Well, up to that moment, they were clearly hedging for those as they brought the price down very quickly, okay, and just traded it sideways. Now, this isn't the scale chart, so this is going to show a different level, but the AMC plus APE is going to show you that this level here, the average level that they were hedging for was 40 before they shorted it even more back down here to where we are now. Okay, so this fractal that I'm going to be pulling up here, it's right here. And with these videos, guys, that I keep posting about, all these different scenarios that we have for AMC, it's good to look at it from every perspective possible. We know that coming up here to this range, we were following what is this catapult setup here. We would be right around that April time here, and it's taking forever, really, because this right here, this fractal back here took about a week, and right here, okay, it's from August 1st all the way back down, and you're right at that point here where things are starting to curl back up. Now, the question here is going to be, how fast is this going to move up? Is it going to be a quick move up, or is it going to be a slower move up? And this is why I have two scenarios out there. It's like, right now we're paying attention to APE, right? APE is a very important part of this whole piece here, is that, well, ever since that APE launch, we have had a bit of a separation here on how the cycle functions. And as things play out, we're finding more and more information about them on an individual level, right? AMC individually, and then APE individually as well. So coming up to this week, which is very important, we're going to see that. We're going to see just what we're expecting here, right? There's a possibility here that going into next week, we have a bigger move here on APE. And we've seen that just with that video here that I had not too long ago with Rico, right? He was talking about all these levels that we were hitting here based on, SMAs, Okay, fractal wise, also the pattern that we look way back here in November. Okay, way back here, December going into January, before we had the run up here. That there's a lot of correlation with the ape, just the ape chart, right? And that's something we're looking at here, obviously, for a potential move up. We know that this also lines up with the cycle. Okay, it's the blue pattern right here. Okay, we're just entering that here. We entered it on Friday, and this is where we expect a bigger push up here. So short-term micro POI on the cycle, where we should expect a move like we've seen before, December 17th, August 24th, September 30th, and then May 12th. All of these guys are going to be smaller points of interest in the cycle. Okay, and that is something that we are expecting here. So pretty nice push up. And whether ape, decides to actually blast off and cross levels of resistance, we're going to see that displayed on AMC plus ape's chart. It's still going to show upside. But again, why it's a very important week that we're coming up to is because we're going to find out what the cycle is doing here and how we can sort of set up here moving forward. If things are not parabolic and we still get a nice push up, that is still good news to me, right? Any push up that we get here on AMC, say we cross these levels of support, and you can see how accurate this pattern is here as well. But say we do come up to this level right here, first at 9, this is AMC, 9, and then cross through that $11 range, you're going to have a V reversal here, very small V reversal, but it's still a step in the right direction because AMC is trading at 650. We know that a pushback up here to that range is still going to be about a 70% move. That's big. And then from the bottom here, the absolute bottom, that's almost a 100% move. We've seen that happen twice on what these were macro points of interest. Remember, these lie in the beginning of the cycle, which is very important. This one is not lining up to do that. We know that this entire section here was inverse, and I displayed that already in the past 2 videos, showing you how this fits like a puzzle here, inverse, right? So coming to the blue pattern, again, some upside here. 100% move is a big deal, really is, where we are now, and then that's not even taking into account what ape is doing. So we're going to keep, close eye here on what we can expect next. But I know what we are looking to see here on ape is any move above the $3 range going into the $4 range very quickly. Okay, that would be from the bottom here to $4 would be 166% move. That's already resistance that we're crossing here. We're getting very close to resistance. Anything above that, and you could see a very parabolic move here, a very quick one, and this thing will not stop. It's just going to keep going. And, if that does happen to bring AMC up with it, we do want to pay attention to the volume here, just the overall volume on both stocks to see what we can expect moving forward. Because if this is an event, a micro POI like May, like September, like August, like December, all these, very quick wicks, then what this is going to indicate here is that, again, we are stepping in the right direction. We are climbing back up, but maybe perhaps here we're going to remain in this channel here before climbing back up. And this is where I pull up this Catapult setup, because here you can see from a fractal level, right? Here you have a point of interest, right? As you're coming back down from what is this arc pattern here, here's your first point of interest in March, and then your second point of interest in August, lining up very nicely, hitting the levels very, very nicely as well before coming back down. And then here you have a massive projector. Now, what does this do on a macro level? Well, on a macro level, not only is this hitting what is the next point of interest, right? We can't ignore that. The next point of interest here is going to be November, going into December 16th, which happens to be a quad witching date. A very important date here. And you're seeing that displayed right here. I can tell you that if things do play out this way, where they climb slowly and they remain here, the next point of interest where we would see some heavy upside here would be what is the macro point of interest here in the green going into the blue, right? Projector pattern comes back down, sets up to what is the next point of interest, which would not be until February, okay? So all these lining up, you can see that on the fractal here, they make sense because they line up, with that portion of the cycle, right? So yes, this one is a little bit more extended, but it still makes sense and it's still on the table. And it's important not to just focus on one scenario, but multiple scenarios that can happen. As we have seen before, time and time again, when we get to these points of interest, guys, sometimes we expect certain things, right? Projector could have been right here, we blast off. Projector could have been right here, we blast off. It could also be right here and we blast off, but looking at the correlation here with the green and the blue cycle, we know that right around there is when we can expect them to open up this volt, okay, this volume volt, and blast that volume, okay, let it open the gates so that volume does kick in and starts breaking the cycle, which is exactly what these guys are afraid of. But that is what we're coming up to on this next cycle here. And yeah, this is just an update video on the Catapult, man, the Catapult setup, which would be an interesting setup here to watch for. Just another perspective and an update, really. But other than that, very interesting week. A lot of opportunities this week. And I'm very excited to see what Ape is going to do, man. Ape is looking really, really feisty here. Can really just move. But yeah, pre-market, watch for pre-market, watch for intraday. The more volume that kicks in here, the higher the chance this thing has to start moving here very quickly, okay? So that's going to be it for this video. Again, we won't make it too long or anything. Just want to get straight to the point here on the Catapult setup we had for Amy and update Ape as well, okay? I will see you guys here soon. I'm trying to post more often. So this is my third video in a row that I post. So I'm trying to get some updates here on AMC every day, just to look at the charts, look at the options, the opportunities that we get here, okay? Other than that, I'll see you guys next week. Love you. Bye.